What if some of the most effective tools for managing your blood pressure weren't sitting in a pharmacy, but growing quietly in your backyard? Most people over 45 hear high blood pressure and think medication, restrictions, lifestyle overhaul, and yes, those things matter, but there's a growing body of clinical research pointing to something far more accessible: herbs, real plants, the kind your grandparents grew without thinking twice. Today we're looking at 10 herbs you can actually grow at home that have shown genuine, measurable support for cardiovascular health. Not magic cures, not miracle fixes, but real plants with real science behind them. Stay with me because number 5 might completely change how you think about that untouched corner of your garden. Here's the honest reality. High blood pressure affects roughly half of adults over 45. And the frustrating part? Most of the time you can't feel it. It doesn't announce itself with pain. It just quietly does its damage over years to your heart, your vessels, your kidneys. Now, nothing we discuss today replaces your doctor's advice or your medication that's important, but what research is increasingly showing is that certain plants, the kind that grow in your garden, on your windowsill, between the cracks of your patio, contain compounds that actively support blood vessel health, reduce inflammation, and help your body manage pressure more effectively. The best part? You probably walk past some of these every day without realizing what they could be doing for you, so let's get into it. Garlic, the blood vessel whisperer. You've used it in 100 meals, but you probably haven't thought of your garlic plant as medicine. Here's the thing. If you've noticed your energy dipping and your doctor keeps mentioning those numbers at your annual checkup, the root cause might be in how your blood vessels are functioning. As we age, they naturally stiffen, and garlic works on exactly that. The active compound in garlic, allicin, helps your body release a molecule called nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide as the signal your blood vessels need to relax and widen, like loosening a grip around a hose. When that grip eases, pressure drops. Clinical trials have backed this up. Research published in cardiovascular pharmacology journals found that in people with stage 1 hypertension, consistent garlic supplementation produced meaningful reductions in systolic blood pressure. One well-cited trial showed a drop of around 17 points in systolic readings over just 10 days of consistent use. What you can do? Fresh garlic is best. 2 cloves a day raw or lightly cooked is what most studies reference. You can grow it easily from a single bulb, right in the ground, or in a large pot. Most people miss this because they think of garlic purely as a flavor enhancer. It's been sitting in their herb beds for years, and the connection to cardiovascular support just never crosses their mind. Garlic is essentially a blood vessel coach. It trains your vessels to stay flexible and responsive. Hibiscus, the tea that works like a mild medication. This one surprises people every single time. That ornamental plant with the deep red flowers you grow for its beauty, it's also one of the most clinically studied herbs for blood pressure in the world. Hibiscus, specifically the dried calices brewed as tea, contains compounds called anthocyanins and organic acids that work similarly to a class of blood pressure medications known as ACE inhibitors. Those are drugs that help relax blood vessels and reduce the workload on your heart. A randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial that's the gold standard in medical research found that drinking 3 cups of hibiscus tea daily for 6 weeks led to a significant reduction in blood pressure in pre-hypertensive and mildly hypertensive adults. The findings were published and later confirmed by multiple meta-analyses. What you can do: grow red hibiscus, Hibiscus sabdariffa, in a sunny spot. Dry the calices, the fleshy part beneath the flower, and steep them in hot water for 5 to 10 minutes. A deep, ruby-colored tea with a slightly tart flavor. It's overlooked because most people who grow hibiscus have no idea the variety matters, or that the plant can be consumed at all. They're growing medicine and calling it landscaping. Imagine having a cup of something that looks and tastes like a fruit tea and quietly supporting your cardiovascular system at the same time. That's hibiscus. Basil, the overlooked kitchen herb. Almost every home cook has basil growing somewhere on a windowsill in a pot by the back door, and almost none of them know about this. Basil contains a compound called eugenol, which has been shown in laboratory studies to act as a natural calcium channel blocker. Calcium channel blockers are another class of common blood pressure medications. They work by preventing calcium from entering the muscle cells of your heart and blood vessel walls, which allows those vessels to relax. Research published in pharmacology journals has explored basil extract's ability to lower blood pressure in animal models, and smaller human studies have shown promise. The evidence is not as robust as garlic or hibiscus. Some studies suggest the effect is modest and dose-dependent, but for an herb you're already likely growing, adding more of it to your daily cooking is essentially free support. What you can do: use fresh basil generously in salads, sauces, smoothies. Don't just treat it as a garnish. Studies suggest that fresh basil used liberally in meals rather than as a small occasional addition is where any meaningful benefit lies. It's overlooked simply because it's so familiar. We stop paying attention to the things we see every day. Basil is hiding in plain sight. If garlic is the coach, think of basil as the daily training session: quiet, consistent, low effort, and compounding over time. Hawthorn, the heart's best friend. This one has a longer history than almost anything else on this list. Hawthorn, a shrubby tree that produces small berries, has been used in European herbal medicine for heart health for centuries. But it's not just folklore. Modern research has caught up with it. Hawthorn berries and leaf extracts contain flavonoids and oligomeric proanthocyanidins, powerful antioxidants that appear to work on multiple fronts simultaneously. They help dilate blood vessels, improve blood flow, reduce peripheral vascular resistance, and have a mild diuretic effect, which helps reduce the volume pressure on your arterial walls. Clinical trials and systematic reviews have confirmed Hawthorn's cardiovascular benefits, with some studies showing reductions in blood pressure alongside improved exercise tolerance and reduced shortness of breath in people with mild heart concerns. The evidence here is considered reasonably strong, particularly in Europe, where hawthorn is a licensed herbal medicine. What you can do: hawthorn can be grown as a hedge or small tree. The berries can be dried and brewed into a tea or made into a tincture. Leaves and flowers can also be used. If you're on heart medication, speak with your doctor first. Hawthorn can interact with certain drugs. People miss this because it looks like a wild, thorny hedgerow bush. It's not the kind of thing most people associate with health, but herbalists have known about hawthorn's heart benefits for generations. Science is just now providing the explanation. A hawthorn bush is, in a sense, a cardiac pharmacy growing at the edge of your garden. Olive leaf, the Mediterranean secret. We've all heard about the Mediterranean diet and its association with lower rates of heart disease. Most people credit the olive oil, but an increasingly compelling body of research is pointing to the leaves, the ones on the olive tree itself. Olive leaf contains a compound called oleuropein, and it's been shown in clinical studies to have genuine antihypertensive effects. It appears to work through vasodilation, widening blood vessels, and by inhibiting the same ACE pathway that certain blood pressure medications target. A published clinical trial comparing olive leaf extract to a common blood pressure medication found comparable reductions in both systolic and diastolic pressure. The 2025 comprehensive review in the Journal of Herbal Antihypertensives specifically listed olive leaf extract among the strongest evidence-backed herbs for hypertension management. What you can do: olive trees can be grown in mild climates in large pots or in the ground. Fresh young leaves can be dried and steeped as a tea, mildly bitter, earthy. Alternatively, olive leaf extract in standardized supplement form is widely available. This one is missed because the association stops at olive oil. People don't realize the leaves themselves, the ones they might just prune and throw away, contain potent cardiovascular compounds. Think of the olive tree as nature's full package cardiovascular plant: the oil for your diet, the leaves for your pressure. Lavender, the tension releaser. Most people think of lavender as a sleep aid or a fragrance, and it's both of those things, but there's something happening underneath that calming scent that directly connects to blood pressure. Stress hormones, particularly cortisol and adrenaline, directly raise blood pressure. When your nervous system is in a state of low-level chronic activation, as it tends to be for many adults in their 40s and 50s juggling work, aging parents, and health concerns, those hormones keep vascular tone elevated. Lavender's active compounds, particularly lanolin, appear to modulate the autonomic nervous system, essentially helping shift it out of that chronic tension state. Laboratory and animal studies have shown hypotensive effects from lavender extract. In human research, aromatherapy with lavender has been associated with measurable reductions in blood pressure and heart rate, particularly in people with stress-related hypertension. The evidence is considered preliminary. Some studies suggest the effects may be mediated through the nervous system's response to the scent rather than direct biochemical action, but the direction of the research is consistent. What you can do: grow lavender in a sunny, well-drained spot. It's hardy and low maintenance. Use the dried flowers in sachets, in baths, or steep them lightly for a mild tea. Even having the plant nearby to brush with your hand while gardening releases beneficial aromatics. It's missed because it lives in the wellness and beauty category in most people's minds. The cardiovascular connection is rarely made. If your blood pressure is partly driven by stress, and for many people over 45, lavender might be the gentlest and most overlooked piece of the puzzle. Think of it as the nervous system's off switch at the end of a long day. Thyme, the potassium plant. Thyme is another one that lives permanently in the just a cooking herb category for most people, but it deserves a second look. Thyme is notably rich in potassium, rosmarinic acid, and certain flavonoids. Potassium is critically important for blood pressure regulation. It helps your kidneys excrete excess sodium, and it naturally counteracts the vessel tightening effect of sodium in your diet. Most adults in Western countries are significantly under-consuming potassium, which contributes directly to elevated blood pressure. Some studies suggest rosmarinic acid may also have anti-inflammatory and mild ACE-inhibiting properties, though this research is still emerging and largely preliminary. What you can do: thyme is one of the easiest herbs to grow. It thrives in pots, along borders, even in rocky soil. Use it fresh in cooking as much as possible. Steep it as a tea. A tablespoon of fresh thyme added to meals regularly makes a genuine dietary contribution. This is missed because people assume that to get cardiovascular benefit from herbs, they need to be taking something specific and concentrated. They overlook the cumulative value of the plants already in their cooking. Thyme is a quiet team player, not the star, but one of those herbs that's consistently doing good work in the background without demanding any attention. Ginger, the circulation activator. Ginger is one of the most extensively researched plants in human health, with over 100 randomized controlled trials examining its effects on various conditions. For blood pressure specifically, the active component gingerol appears to help relax the smooth muscle tissue surrounding blood vessels, improving circulation and allowing blood to move more freely. Some research also suggests ginger has mild ACE-inhibiting properties similar to certain medication classes. However, it's worth being clear: the evidence on ginger and blood pressure in human trials is still somewhat mixed. A comprehensive systematic review noted that while the direction of the evidence is positive, many studies use low doses with inconclusive results. The effects appear more consistent at higher doses and over longer durations. What you can do: ginger root is surprisingly easy to grow in a pot. Plant a knob from the grocery store in moist, warm soil, and it will sprout. Fresh ginger steeped as tea, grated into food, or added to smoothies daily is where most of the evidence points. It's often missed as a cardiovascular herb because ginger is so strongly associated with digestion and nausea relief. People don't connect the circulation benefits. Think of ginger as a warming circulation massage for your blood vessels, creating movement and ease from the inside out. Lemon balm, the quiet nervous system regulator. Lemon balm is an underappreciated herb. It grows vigorously, almost invasively, and most people who have it in their garden grow it for tea or fragrance without fully understanding its pharmacological properties. Lemon balm contains rosmarinic acid and certain terpenes that have demonstrated anxiolytic, that is, anxiety-reducing effects in clinical research. And the connection to blood pressure is the same as with lavender. When your autonomic nervous system is chronically stressed, blood pressure rises. When that background tension eases, it tends to fall. Some studies suggest lemon balm may also have mild ACE-inhibiting activity. Research specifically on lemon balm and direct blood pressure measurement is still limited, so we should be honest about that. But the nervous system pathway reducing the stress-driven component of hypertension is well supported. What you can do: grow it in a container if possible. It will spread vigorously if left in open soil. Brew fresh or dried leaves as a mild lemon-scented tea in the evening. It pairs well with valerian for sleep, and with hibiscus for a cardiovascular supportive evening drink. People miss it because it doesn't look impressive. It's a weedy, sprawling, ordinary-looking plant, but sometimes the most ordinary-looking things are quietly doing the most. Lemon balm is like a volume dial on your stress response. It doesn't eliminate the signal, it just turns it down a little, consistently over time. Celery leaf, the one you've been accidentally eating. The final one on this list. And possibly the most surprising, celery has been used in traditional medicine across Asia for blood pressure for centuries. And modern pharmacology has found something worth paying attention to. Celery seeds and leaves contain a compound called phthalate, specifically 3N-butyl phthalate, which has been shown to relax the smooth muscle lining of arteries and reduce the production of stress hormones that cause blood vessels to constrict. Animal studies have shown significant blood pressure lowering effects. Human research is more limited. Some studies suggest modest reductions in both systolic and diastolic readings with consistent celery consumption. This is still an area where evidence is emerging, and we should be honest about that. But the mechanism is scientifically plausible and well characterized. What you can do. Celery is easy to grow from seed or from the base of a store-bought bunch. The leaves, which most people throw away, are actually the most concentrated source of phthalates. Use them in soups, salads, and juices. Celery seed can also be grown and used as a spice. This one is missed because we categorize celery as a vegetable, not an herb. The leaves get composted. The active compound goes with them. Think of celery leaf as the herb hiding in the vegetable drawer, waiting for you to realize it was there all along. So there it is. 10 plants, most of them grow easily in a moderate climate to help with your blood pressure. Until next time, take care of yourself, slowly, deliberately, and one plant at a time.